This was another thing that took place before the Zoran meeting, where the House passed the resolution condemning socialism ahead of the Zoran Mamdani Trump meeting, with 87 Democrats also voting to condemn socialism.
Hours before Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani arrived in Washington for his first meeting with President Trump, the House of Representatives passed a bipartisan resolution condemning the, quote, horrors of socialism.
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
Standing next to President Trump in the Oval Office, Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani batted away a question about a resolution passed by the House that decried the horrors of socialism. The resolution was voted on just as Mamdani was arriving in Washington to meet with the president.
A yes vote on this resolution should be a relatively straightforward, easy decision. It simply states that Congress denounces socialism in all its forms and opposes the implementations of socialist policies in the United States of America.
The resolution passed in a bipartisan vote of 285 to 98, but it was particularly embarrassing to the newly elected mayor because among the 86 Democrats who supported the measure were 14 congressmen from New York.
The fact that we just got out of the longest shutdown and both parties are wildly unpopular and they chose to do this, socialism got a massive boost for anyone. Yeah.
Jersey. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who only endorsed Mamdani at the 11th hour of the mayor's race, voted with the Republicans to support the measure. Other New Yorkers who also supported the measure included Congressman Richie Torres of the Bronx, Greg Meeks and Grace Meng of Queens, and Laura Gillen and Tom Suozzi of Long Island. Among the Democrats voting against the measure was Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
I wish we were here on the House floor this morning debating solutions that would reduce grocery bills, lower housing costs.
Democrats still eat this bait for no fucking reason, or not no fucking reason because they're stupid, but it is unbearable. It is unbearable to watch the Democrats behave like this every single time. These guys say, oh, we're going to condemn socialism. And then Democrats end up going, yes, we're condemning socialism, thinking that this is going to cause the Republicans to turn around and be like, well, see, these Democrats are different. They're condemning socialism. They're not. They're not going to do that. They're saying socialism is bad, and they're reiterating it over and over again while simultaneously calling you socialist, you fucking idiots. Oh my God. Under no circumstance does anybody actually turn around and go, oh, well, I guess Hakeem Jeffries is not a socialist anymore. They still think you're a socialist. This is so stupid. They think this is how you lead a party without realizing that the base is leading and gonna leave them behind. Yeah, it's just, it creates anger and resentment even amongst the base of support for the Democrats now, unnecessarily. It causes them to step on this fucking landmine for no reason. Just be like, no, I'm not condemning socialism. What the does this have to do with anything? Shut up. You call everything socialist. You call helping the working man socialist, and you want us to say it's a bad thing? We're the Democratic Party. Call it socialism, call it communism, call it whatever you want to call it. But we are here to defend the working class is the unified approach to this sort of idiotic thing.
In Trump's tariffs strangling American small businesses and manufacturers, solve the Republican health care crisis, or any legislation that allows Americans to afford to live through the catastrophic economic policies of Trump and the Republicans.
Now, the measure was also supported by Staten Island Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis, whose mother fled Cuba in 1959. Maliotakis said her mother left Cuba to avoid what she called, quote, the very things that our new socialist mayor in New York City says he wants.
I think it's very funny that the Republican Party is like running around being like, we must disavow socialism. Socialism is so dangerous. And then mere hours later, Donald Trump is like, I love socialism. Socialism is a great economic system, very different than capitalism. I like capitalism more, but socialism not so bad. Look at my little communist, Zoran Mamdani. Very cool. He's very cool and handsome. Very, like,
is recognized.
Awesome. Yeah, no, good job, Democrats. Glad that you guys actually took a position on this and then got outflanked by Donald Trump, who seems to have a better opinion about a socialist candidate than you do, even though he's supposed to be in your party. It is awesome. This is the world's most confusing day for centrist Democrats who just voted to condemn socialism and then tried to sink Mamdani's campaign for months. Like, it almost feels like Donald Trump is actively trying to dagger the establishment Democrats today. Fantastic. Does Assange stream on weekends usually? Yes, I do. Sorry, I have moments of quiet here because I'm trying to literally wrangle our entire team. Did you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Just tuned in? Yes, I did.
For 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My blood pressure is up right now. I cannot believe just what I heard on the House floor. The ranking member of this distinguished committee denouncing Trump, but will not denounce socialism on the House floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. History is clear. Socialism
basketball
kills
stream or
people, leads to
re-riot?
deaths
I
of
want to
tens
do a
of
basketball
millions,
stream.
crushes religious liberty, and destroys free markets. Our founders built this nation on a revolutionary...
Socialism destroys precious liberty and denounces free markets. Nice. Not the free markets. I'm so angry right now, I could lose my mind. How dare you denounce the precious free markets? Awesome. Thanks, man. Chuck Schumer is tackling anti-Semitism, calling on Nick Fuentes. I mean, I agree, but I don't know to what degree of success this will have. And I suspect that the Republicans will probably try to tack me onto this bill as well because they're stupid. And Chuck Schumer will probably go along with it. Who knows? Let's see.
Dangerous tipping point. Jewish Americans are facing threats, harassment, and violence at levels we have not seen in generations. And as I have said many times in this chamber, anti-Semitism is the canary in the coal mine. Where there's anti-Semitism, there lurks white supremacy and other pernicious forms of hate. Well, 3 days ago, the President of the United States declined to condemn Nick Fuentes' hateful views and defended Tucker Carlson's decision to give Fuentes a platform. The President was asked about his thoughts on the interview. He declined to condemn Nick Fuentes. That is disgusting. For Donald Trump to excuse and protect the spread of Nick Fuentes' ideology confirms what many of us have long said. White supremacy and anti-Semitism are taking deep roots, unfortunately, within the Republican Party. Just as we saw from the leaked texts of young Republicans, just as we saw from text messages of administration officials, the Nick Fuentes saga on the right reveals that anti-Semitism and white supremacy have been growing with disturbing currency within the right wing and within the right wing of the Republican Party. But I know this is not true of everyone on the Republican side, especially not for many Republicans in this chamber. Therefore, I will soon lead a resolution here in the Senate rejecting Nick Fuentes and his white supremacist views, condemning Carlson's platforming of hate, and condemning anti-Semitism and white supremacy wherever and whenever it occurs. In the coming days,
I feel like this literally boosts Nick Fuentes' profile. I don't think they understand how this works anymore. It seems like a bad idea to make a resolution about a single individual like this. Yeah, you're just going to boost your profile? Exactly. I don't even know how to deal with this issue at all, but I will tell you, I think this just boosts his profile. That's all it does. Our establishment has no idea how to handle Fuentes and the rise of Nazism on the right. They're weak. They're past their sell date and clueless. They will continue to take money from their donors, ignore the will of the people, send our money to wars abroad, and encourage inequality, meanwhile trying to silence dissent. A perfect storm to strengthen the fringes and bring about the collapse of America. Absolutely dumbest thing to do. Shows that folks like Schumer, and there are people like him on both sides, know absolutely nothing about this moment and are not equipped to handle it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I'm assuming Schumer is doing this for political purpose in the hopes that some Republicans won't vote for it, and then he can point to them as part of the problem. But what this does is galvanize Nick and gives him reason to tell his supporters, see, look what they're doing to try and silence us. This also makes Nick's supporters believe he's on the right track, and this will tip people who are on the fence regarding Nick and move them over to his side. The proper way to deal with someone like Nick Fuentes is to provide a viable alternative. But because the viable alternative has to still be anti-Israel, these guys will never do that. If anything, they think they can probably utilize the Nick Fuentes the Nick Fuentes situation to Republicans who also hate Nick Fuentes and are worried about Nick Fuentes, not because he's anti-Semitic, but because he's anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, will then turn around and try to tack on other anti-Israel people on the left to this bill. And just as though just as there are plenty of mainstream Republicans who despise Nick Fuentes, there are plenty of mainstream Democrats who despise people like myself. And of course, the appropriate measure to dealing with someone like Nick Fuentes is to turn around and, like I said, offer an alternative. There's nothing you can do at this point. Okay, people are anti-Israel, cats out of the bag. That's why I always say, like, anti-Zionism is here. It's happening. It's either going to happen in an anti-Semitic manner or it's going to happen in a non-anti-Semitic manner. It's up to the adults to figure out which way they want to go. But they cannot stop the anti-Israel sentiment, especially amongst the youth. And they certainly can't do that through legislation regardless. Could be a streamer most Republicans have never heard of, or could be the mass murder. Unfavorable views of Israel among Republicans under 50 jump from 35% to 50% in 2025. And these numbers are for March. Yeah. Zaid says, is this Nick Fuentes'? Zaid also is pointing to how this is not about Nick Fuentes. It's not about me either, by the way, okay? I think a lot of people that are in my community credit me for their own personal their own personal attitude shifting, which is fair. But for many Americans, like, they don't know who the I am, right? They don't know who I am. I mean, we all play our own role in this. It is not a 5D chess play to make Republicans look bad. You mean, is it not a 5D chess play to make Republicans look bad? It's not even 5-dimensional chess. It's not even 1-dimensional chess, let's be real. I think it's just most likely going to fail. It's about me. Everything is about me. It's so funny that you said right here, because I was just talking about how it's not me or it's not Nick Fuentes. It's Israel itself. That was the point I was making. Feel me? You feel me?